Hi, I'm Christy. Today I want to talk to you about how a complex life brings blessing and lessons. So I've been thinking a lot about how special needs impacts all of life. Now, not just every area of life, but also the whole lifespan. As I continue this journey, I continue to discover blessings that I never would have anticipated. Of course, I'm also finding plenty of extra lessons to learn because they pertain directly to special needs. As I've said many times before, special needs complicate life, but it's still a good life, and one that I know many families wouldn't trade. So I thought I'd spend the next few weeks looking at special needs and how it impacts life. Just to be upfront and honest here, a lot of this is driven by my discovery that many people are quick to advocate for support and assistance for kids with special needs. And I'm all for that. Don't get me wrong, it's absolutely necessary and critical for some of them even. But what happens when that child reaches adulthood? My experience so far indicates that most people assume that this person suddenly no longer needs support, accommodations, or assistance. In turn, this means that it's almost like this black hole comes and swallows them up and they just disappear. Okay, I know that's not really true. And I've found plenty of organizations that are helping me set up AJ to succeed in life apart from us. But there's still this ginormous hole. So over the next few weeks, I would look at how special needs impacts life and how those issues are addressed, at least here in the US. Since AJ was born so early, we knew that he would have special needs. And I've got a picture of him from the day after he was born on the blog. You can find that at www.havenofhopeforme.com. This originally posted in November of 2021. So we weren't sure exactly what those special needs would look like, but it was pretty much a given that he would have special needs. In his early years, we received a ton of different therapies and early intervention services, trying to make sure that he was reaching as many milestones as possible. Now, once he started school, he continued with some of those therapies privately, while also receiving some therapies at school. Now, once insurance and Medicaid ran out, we switched to only receiving therapy at school. Now, I asked our private therapies about continuing with self-pay, but discovered it was way too expensive for us to be able to afford that. So fortunately, he was progressing well enough that we were comfortable with him receiving therapy at school alone. Now, he remained in a self-contained class, meaning he was in special education class all day with about an hour a day of mainstreaming. Now, that was for all of his school years. Now, I know there are many parents who believe that mainstreaming their child is the best option for everyone. Now, while I know that some kids with special needs have mainstreamed successfully, I'm also a firm believer that it's not always the best option for every student with special needs. But I'll get into that in a future post. Now, once AJ graduated, he completed a super senior year in his high school class, so he was in that class for 5 years total. Then he joined the job skills program that he's currently in. He ages out of that at the end of this school year. So now I'm looking into job options for him, as well as searching for the best living situation for him to live apart from us. Now, one challenge right now is finding the right place or places for him to receive appropriate social interaction that he's interested in. Now, that's to say, I can find options. Unfortunately, he's not interested in participating in them on a long-term basis. And he's more than happy to stay at home and enjoy his computer and tablet. So again, I'll get into that in a future post. So where exactly is this series headed? Honestly, I'm not completely sure. I'm still in the process of mapping out all the different posts that I want to include. Now, one thing I do know, I want this to be an overview type series, not an exhaustive list of options or an in-depth look at the situation. Therefore, I'm not planning to go into great depth or detail in any particular area. I do want to hit all of the main areas and issues that many families with special needs face. So hopefully this will provide you with some talking points as you have conversations with people who are less familiar with special needs. Right now, I'm looking at some broad categories like getting through school, so birth through high school, and then life after school. Within each of these categories, I'm also thinking of breaking out a couple of specific topics to address in an individual post. Now, if there's something that you'd like me to include, you can send me an email. That's Christy, Christy, at havenofhopeforme.com. And I'll see what I can do to include your ideas in this series. So my question for you this week is this. How would you explain life with special needs to someone else? I'd love to hear your thoughts and ideas. You can leave me a comment below, or you can leave me a comment over on the blog. Again, that's at www.havenofhopeforme.com. This originally posted in November of 2021. If you prefer, you can always email me. Again, that's at Christy, Christy, at havenofhopeforme.com. I'm learning new lessons and overcoming obstacles pretty consistently so that I can continue to say that life is good and there is never a dull moment.